Go now.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me? I seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me?
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 194, More Than the Title. Y'all know what it is. I'm your host, as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, cuzzo?
Yo, cuzzo, what up, man? We in the building. It's pod day. All day. You already know, man. I'm super excited, man. We got some great news, a lot of great things, you know, coming through the funnel for us, man. So let's start the show the right way. G&T, right? Grateful that we got a chance to wake up yet another day, right? Grateful that we got a chance to do what we love to do without the pressures of having to do something that we don't like. Something that we don't like to do for a monetary value. That's the message for today. Stop doing shit that you don't want to do just because it supports your lifestyle. Start taking a chance and do things that you want to do for your soul, not for your pocket. You heard? So grateful we don't have to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? And thankful to everybody that supported us along our journey to allow us to continue this journey in the way that we're doing it. We're continuing to grow and glow, like my cousin likes to say, for all of the new viewers, the new supporters, the old supporters that be riding with us, all the comments that we get week after week. I'm trying to tell you, baby, we can't do it without y'all. G&T, you know what it is. Grateful and thankful. That's how we
shout out to everybody on LinkedIn, checked in. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. Twitch is going crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Yo, the gamers are starting to rock with us. When they start rocking with us, you know we doing something.
I got some content for that too. We're gonna do some content for the gamers too.
Let's make it happen. But if you want content like More Than the Title, make sure y'all go take out your phone, download the app, the Live Podcast Network, the first woman-owned, black-owned podcast network, and the largest black-owned podcast network in the world. So if you want More Than the Title and other great content, make sure y'all download it, and half of the subscription goes to your content creator of choice, man. We don't just talk it, we walk it. We support our black queen. Shout out to Angel Livis and the entire team, you heard?
Shout out to all the amazing black women. Unfortunately, they only celebrate you guys for 1 month, but without y'all, we couldn't even be here, right? Life wouldn't even be possible. So shout out to all my amazing black women out there. Keyword amazing. You deadbeat motherfuckers, that ain't for y'all.
Message. She's appalled. She's appalled. Not a Women's History Month episode.
I don't want everybody trying to take credit.
There goes all our women brand sponsors. We were just about to get something.
Let's go.
All right, man. With that being said,
let's start the show.
Being said, man, we do have an amazing woman coming on the show today, you dig? So this is one of the homies, man, one of our peoples. This is fam right here. And this is first time listeners. If this is your first time with More Than a Title, what we do is go beyond the resume, beyond the titles, and we talk to only trailblazers who make impact in the industries and their communities, y'all. So today's no different. She's a master storyteller, a brand influencer expert, and a leadership powerhouse. 2 decades of experience. She's led game-changing campaigns for brands like AT&T, Toyota, Samsung, Uber. Worked with heavy hitters like ESPN, ABC, The OWN Network, Essence, and BET. She's also played a role in shaping cultural moments such like the Soul Train Awards, NAACP Image Awards, and even the Masters PGA Tournament. Named one of the 20 top 20 women in Dallas advertising. She dominated every corner of the agency from sports marketing, PR, while also being a wife and a mother to 2 amazing boys. She now has she's the founder of the Her Agency, empowering women to step up into their own careers and build their own legacies.
Here we go.
Seen that Black Week.
Boom.
You've seen it in the conferences. You've seen it on her podcast, right? Boom. And now for the very first time, she's here on your favorite podcast, More Than the Title. Let's introduce our girl, Miss Brandi Rand, y'all.
Yeah.
It worked.
I'm in the building. I'm in the virtual building.
You're in the building, Queen.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And ladies and gentlemen, just for a little backstory before she goes off, because she definitely gonna drop some jewels on y'all. Just for a little backstory, a lot of our guests we meet for the first time on the show, and we didn't have a chance to kind of vibe with them. This is not the case. Let's be clear. This is not that. Us and Brandi, we done hung out at Black Week. We tore Black Week up.
We are family.
We are fam already. You understand what I'm saying? Even though she don't understand the code, You know what I'm saying? Right. The buddy code, she knows what I'm talking about. We're gonna have to work on her buddy code, but other than that, she's good money.
Hold on. My buddy code is airtight. We just got lost in the mix at Black Week. So I'm just gonna fill everybody in. What they're referring to is when we met, it was a long line. It was wall to wall. Shout out to Joe and the team and Walt for putting on Black Week. But it was wall to wall for the kickoff event that they had.
Yeah.
And so I walk in, I'm trying to see what's good at the bar. Like it was just a lot going on. So my brothers was in the line. It was some other people in the line. I was at the back of the line. So I shimmied on up. You know, I don't meet strangers. So I shimmied on up and I was like, hey, what's good? So we worked out, me and Chadeo, your favorite CEO, other than me, your other favorite CEO, worked out a buddy system. So he was like, yo, if you get up there first, get me this. I was like, if you get up there first, give me that. Now, mind you, I was in networking mode because that's the only reason I pull up to anybody's conference is to get contacts, networking, and shit done. So, else in the line. So I progressed up just in natural conversation. So what had happened was they were like, hey, what you drinking? So I ended up getting my drink about 10 minutes before Chad and Jay. And then when I circled back through with my drink, they was like, yo, you broke the buddy code. Like we were supposed to have each other's back. So that was my bad.
Shit.
Was my bad.
You knew that was coming.
I know.
You knew that was coming.
I know.
That was a good time. But also, too, we didn't even know we knew each other already. So we were on the line and we talking because me and Brandi had already been in contact on LinkedIn. So time us meeting in person, I'm not even putting a face to the name at that moment. We just talking. And when during conversation, it was like, yo, my cousin do this. Oh, hold up. I know Jarrett. And boom, boom. Started connecting from there. It's been fam. We was rocking out. We had a great time. And we had to have her on the show. She's here today. You dig?
Yeah.
And that's happening. So you know we like to start, sis. So I know you've seen the show. You know we're gonna start from the beginning. Tell us about.
Yeah, I'm a subscriber. I haven't just seen the show.
I've seen the comments.
Hold on. You know I like to
talk to him.
Do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. First period. Let's go.
Okay.
First period. Let's take it.
Up in some early influences.
Early influences. Okay. My mom and my dad, for sure, in so many facets of life, right? So first of all, I'm celebrating 12 years of Black love, wedded bliss this July. And that's because I have the example of mom and pop. Who, yes, shout out to Black love.
I want to clap for that too. Hold on. I want to take a moment to clap for that.
Because
yes, absolutely, man. Because Jarrett's family, I don't know how many years, decades. You know what I mean? So I don't get to see Black love too often. So for me, I love that shit. That shit is super dope, man. Congratulations to you guys.
It's resistance in every way possible. It's resistance. So they were married for 32 years before my father passed away from brain cancer, rest his soul. But that was my first example of like what family meant, what being through it through thick and thin, having an amazing support system. My father was an entrepreneur. He owned his own electrical company back home in Kansas City, Missouri for a number of years. So that's where I got my entrepreneurial bug from. Mama was just a boss corporate girl lady. You know, she did 32 years in her role in insurance. And so I just had an amazing example of what it looked like to live a middle-class life, know that anything's possible, have a mother and a father present in the home, have it to where they weren't missing any games. And me and my little sister, we did it all. I was the cheerleading captain. I was in first chair, clarinet and band, all the things. And every time I looked up, mom and dad were in the stand and in the building. So that's my first influence, not just from how to navigate and move in life, and be sure about every step that I took and know whose I was, but then also from both the side of the coin of corporate baddie and entrepreneur. So that's where my foundation comes from.
I got a question for you. I don't think we've ever asked this question, but growing up, right? Because we've interviewed a lot of people and a lot of people say that they don't come from entrepreneurial backgrounds. They're the first. Then we have guests that say they've had the model before them.
Right.
Even though your father was an entrepreneur, because me and Jarrett talk about this, about what do we want for our children, right? Do we bring them into the company and start fostering being into the company and with an intent to pass on down to them initially, or do we allow them to make their own decisions and grow to be what they want? So my question to you is, what was that like in your household with your father owning his own company and stuff like that? Did he start grooming you early to be an entrepreneur? Like, what was that like, teachings from when you were young?
Yes, great question. I was around, but I was still kind of little. So I do have an older brother who was from my dad's first union. So my dad was married before he and my mom got married. And I have an older brother and sister from that. And so he groomed my older brother to take over. So he was running the company for a while then. But what I did get to see is when they were running payroll, when they were doing all the taxes and the account processing, I was able to see that. So that's when I got really good and comfortable with numbers, comfortable with like operating systems and operational excellence and things of that nature, right? Because though we grew up in the suburbs, my dad's business was in the hood. Like if y'all are from, so I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. First, let's go back.
Right.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. Missouri. How you pronounce it? Missouri?
Okay. Yes, Missouri.
Right. Mizzou. Right.
Well, not the Kansas side. So I just want to be very, very clear.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because there's a state line, and I tell people this all the time. And I love people who ask when I say I'm from Kansas City. Typically, I just say I'm from Kansas City.
Right.
And they say, "Are you from Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri?" Because if you know, you know.
Right.
Now, no shade to the Kansas side, but Kansas City, Missouri is where it's at. Right. That's where Gates Barbecue is at. That's where the Chiefs actually have a stadium on that side. That's where the Royals actually play on that side. So, no beef, but just want to make it very clear. I am from the Show Me State, Kansas City, Missouri, although right now I reside in a suburb of Dallas, Texas. So there's that. But back in but his company was in the hood. It was on Prospect. So if anybody knows Kansas City, Missouri, it was in Prospect. And so there was also, yes, the Black booming entrepreneurialism, but then there was also a lot of crime. It was a very crime-ridden neighborhood. So everything from the copper pipes getting stolen to people breaking in and trying to see if there was cash. There was a lot of that happening too. So while I was raised and went to school in predominantly middle class, I did get to see both sides of the fence. And I think that also is something that poured into me from my upbringing too, that just makes me be able to move in a lot of circles, right? I have the street smarts, I have the book smarts, and I thank mom and dad for that.
So since we celebrating Black women, what's the best game, a lesson, a line, something that Mama Love gave to you? What's something that sticks out that Mama
Love? She's my biggest supporter right now. She's probably watching right now on YouTube. Shout out, Mama.
You know what I mean?
How you doing, Mama? How you doing, Mama?
LA.
Mama, I know you didn't teach her to break the buddy code. I know she didn't get that from you. So shout out. I know you didn't teach her that.
She didn't. She didn't get the. I don't know. We're off of that. But Mama she still tells me to I can do absolutely anything that I want to do. And I know that that's cliche, but that was real talk. Every time I walked through the front door and was like, yo, I want to do cheerleading and try out for cheerleading. I want to do band. I want to do debate club. I want to go and I did tap, jazz, and ballet when I was growing up. Like all the things, she made it a point to be like, yes. It was always yes. Academically, we achieved as well. So it was easy for them to say yes to our aspirations. But the number one thing I got from my mom is like, try something just to see what you like. And she even tells me that to this day. Like now that I'm not in an advertising agency and I'm advertising adjacent, she was like, go kill that shit. Like this is you. She's been a supporter. She's been an investor. She's been a cheerleader. She's been a champion. And so when we talk about the personification of someone who champions you and loves you through thick and thin, because, I had a little stint in the A. I was one of the girls who left Kansas City and went straight to Atlanta to go to college. I was like, I'm out, right? I ended up at a HBCU, Morris Brown College, down in the A, and I went there for a year right before they lost their accreditation. Wow. I was there during that time. So, yes, I got accepted to Xavier and all these other HBCUs, but I picked Morris Brown because I wanted to do sports medicine, physical therapy. I ended up there. They lost their accreditation, and I stayed in Atlanta, not going to school, living my best life.
I'm not mad.
Learned a lot about myself, a lot about resilience, but you know, they had to be like, yo, B, come back home, finish your degree. I came back home and got my degree. But even through all of that and not necessarily making the best life choices, mom and daddy were still there. And she was like, I know you're going to figure it out. So that's where I get a lot of my fortitude and perseverance from, is from my mom.
But that's important. You know, we often overlook the power of positive influence and where and when it starts, right? The fact that she championed you and said, try it, that has a lot of meanings to it, because you don't know if you like something until you try it, right? And it gives you a chance at a very young age to kind of get out all your ideas and all your aspirations and be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. That forces a certain mentality within you, so that if you don't like something or something doesn't work out, you don't feel defeated. You're like, oh, this didn't work out. Okay, no problem. So we have to champion that, and we have to do that more, right? Because growing up, we heard that a lot, but from the other side of the fence, right? We used to see that on TV where, you know, the other people would tell, like, oh, you can be whatever you want to be. And we used to think that was like stupid and it's a joke, but that's actually very powerful, right?
It's very powerful and very real.
Yeah, he talks about positive affirmations all the time. You got to do it.
Absolutely. Affirmations are everything. You gotta feed yourself mentally so you can go and execute physically. What I love about also what I've passed on as a mother now to 2 young sons, both under 10, is that, yeah, I don't care if you don't like it, just go try it. So actually they've ended up liking everything. They both play 4 sports, which is a lot for me and my husband to navigate, between soccer, baseball. What are they doing? Soccer, baseball, all the things. And let me just go ahead and go into mommy brag mode, because that's just what
Here we go. Why not?
I mean, my baby's good. He's nice, right?
Okay.
3 years in a row.
Okay, there we go.
Number 1 in the district.
Fire.
Nice. Show them rings. 3
years in a row. And so not just that, right? Because I'm raising Renaissance men, right? They're athletes and scholars. So we're on the honor roll, principal's honor roll. You know, we are in UIL, which is a United University competition. So we're not just over here playing sports, dribbling balls, right? It's not shut up and dribble over here. It's do whatever the fuck you want to do, because mommy and daddy are going to support you. And whatever you want to continue to do, that you excel at, that you love, we'll champion that too.
We get screaming baby for that. You on mute, cousin?
Yeah. I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that at all. That's a drop right there. But you also said you went to the A, right? Dropped out. We live in life. We in the, you know, we A-Town, we snapping, we live in life, we chilling, we go back home, right? What was the first step home to get back on? I want to know how you got to the agency. You know,
they had to come fish me out. I had a little not a straight path to getting back home. We definitely went through some things. That's, I guess, for another conversation. But yeah, I've seen a lot and I've done a lot. I'll just say that, right? And so when we get back home, it's like, hey, focus, buckle down. So I got right back into school. That wasn't hard. Got my degree in communications, media relations, with the radio minor. So communications has always been my thing. And I guess that's kind of really helped me with my path here with what I do now with her agency and, you know, leading a podcast and just creating meaningful conversations for people to tell their story. That's, I guess, where that came from. Is I've always been a talker. You know, I'm a Sagittarius. We don't meet strangers. Like we, you know, we're all about energy, and that's really what I'm about. And I think that's why I click with y'all, because it was just energy off the rip. And that's the number 1 language that I speak. I speak energy. I don't care if you speak Spanish, German, Turkish, like I don't care what your native tongue is. I speak energy. So if your energy is off, it's not gonna vibe.
I'm just curious why you switched. Because your initial passion, you said, was like sports medicine and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
So even though you took that time off, I'm just curious, why didn't you just pick up from, because you already, even though they lost their accreditation, I'm pretty sure whatever you finished, you still had those credits viable.
I did, right?
It would have been easier to pick up from that instead of kind of switching your entire major. I'm just curious, what made you switch and say, now I want to do communications?
Absolutely. So sports medicine, physical therapy, like when you get into the anatomy and all that type of stuff, that's later on. So I would have touched that in sophomore year, junior year. Okay. So I still had the general competencies as far as like a general bachelor degree studies. So that was able to translate easily into sports, into communications. The other thing too is like, I love sports. So I know in my heart of hearts, I was destined to be a boy mom. Like, and even a girl mom, she could have played that shit too. But like this, I am in my bag. Like, I love an early morning. I love a tournament day. I love and this is not just because my kids are nice. This is just even when they weren't. I love this shit. Like, I love sports. So looking back on my career, my most excited journey in advertising when I was leading sports marketing for AT&T. I led that for a number of years, leading their entire social and digital for sports sponsorship. So this took me to the PGA Masters tournament. It took me to the iconic Hole 9 at Pebble Beach. This took me to the college football championship. That was like my most fun at work. I did partnerships with Jerome Bettis and got to meet like all of these like dope athletes, but communication still in my mind at that time was going to keep me close to sports because I was leaning toward sports broadcasting at that time or sports radio. So I was still going to be close to sports, though not doing the actual physical therapy part of it.
Well, but you saying communication, you love sports, but also why you don't create content talking about both? Because you're gonna do that, right? That's just popping right now. You could have been.
I could do that. Now I do a training for parents who have kids in sporps about
new parents is a big thing.
Yeah, and how they should help their kids move on social, because like we've seen NIL deal lost, we've seen scholarships lost, we've seen entire careers lost with one post on social media, posting the wrong thing or being affiliated with on somebody else's post. So I do trainings for parents of middle school, high school, and college age athletes about like what not to do in social. But but the creating content. So if y'all go to my IG right now, I got 1,500 followers. That's because I don't like doing it. So my entire advertising career has been social and digital. Like I was in social strategy or digital strategy. So while I'm sitting doing social listening all day, especially during the pandemic, during George Floyd's murder, the last thing I wanted to do, y'all, was come home and post a damn social media post. So I think that was the anti-career move of just like, I'm a consumer on social media. I just got into my content creation bag with the podcast, but that's just not my thing of posting on social. Like, I hate to go live.
Everybody I know that works in social or digital says the same shit. Doing so much for other brands.
I've been on IG all day.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to.
I don't think it's just that, bro. I did when I was doing construction on fucking damn building skyscrapers 14, 16 hours a day. When I come home and if it was shit that needed to be done in the house, I'm like, yo, call somebody.
Call somebody, right? I could do it, but I don't want to. Right.
That's
right.
I'm doing this shit all day. I'm not coming home and doing it.
Yeah, I hate it. People ask me that all the time. Like, why you not an influencer? Why you don't know? I will train an influencer. I will coach an influencer. I will do all the things, but I will not be that.
That's what I'm saying, but that's the flip side of the coin. We know the power of that. We know the power of the brand. You get the brand, the opportunities to come. You're doing it with the bigger brands. You've seen what it does for them and what activations you're putting together. That's dope. And you said listening too. So, like, how was you coming up with strategies for them? How do we make sure, like, especially when we get in those rooms as Black executives, that we get our ideas heard? And how were you influencing the strategies?
We got to be in the room. That's the number one problem. We just not in the room. So when the work that I do right now, so I'm very proud of my career because 100% of the people that I've hired have been multicultural and skewing Black. Like, I have white people in my circle. I have allies that I love, that I trust. But when I elevated to a position of power where I could put people asses in seats, 100% of the time, if they weren't Latino or Latina or Black or even Asian, that was it. Like, I've got people still y'all silly. I got people still thriving in advertising today because I gave them a chance. There's a young mom, single parent mom, who was trying to get in her influencer bag. She was a young Latina, very new to advertising. I gave her a chance when I was at the marketing arm here in Dallas, still thriving in advertising. But she wasn't a typical hire. She didn't come from an ad school. She didn't come from another agency. She was a creator. And you know what I'm saying? I put her on. I'm proud of the work that I've done. I partnered with a lot of dope creators before they've become what they are. Nicole Lionel, I partnered with her with AT&T. Well, who was that with? Yeah, AT&T, like way back in 2016. And now she's a multi-million-dollar brand. There's just so many people. Kadena DeVal, I did the Black Love experience with Toyota with them back in 2016, 2017. So it's just like, no, actually that was 2018 when I was at Burrell Communications doing multicultural marketing. So it's just, we have to be in the room for these creators and influencers to come and have a valid seat at the table, where we're not feeding them scripts, where we're not feeding them lines to say, where we're not, hey, read this whole entire T's and C's. No, go be you, but we have to be in the room to understand what their sauce is and what they bring to the table so that we don't dilute that. I see a lot of brand partnerships happening right now that are dope, but I see a lot that are like, they didn't let them get in their bag. Like they did not, they were restricted. This creator, and you could see it. And shout out to Latoya Shambo, because I'm going on my 4th year of being a judge with Black Influencer Awards, and with Black Girl Digital, sorry. And she is putting Black creators on, but there hasn't been a platform where we recognize them and for all the work that they do. But left and right, we're moving culture. We're shifting the needle. Absolutely. And so as advertisers, what I would implore everyone to do is fight to stay in the rooms, right? Fight to have a voice at the table, because we know how much we influence culture, but we also know what a bad brand deal looks like. We know when somebody's getting shafted. We know when we paid, Sally, the lifestyle creator who happens to be Caucasian, versus what we over here paying, Shanice. And not to be, stereotypical, but like it happens. And sometimes we let it happen. I've seen it happen in rooms, and I'm like, yo, we didn't pay them that. So what's good, right? But we have to be in the rooms. Too much, we're on the stages too much, having conversations, talking amongst ourselves instead of staying in the room, advocating for each other to come to the table and for creators to get their just due, Black creators specifically.
Message. Well, I think that is a big problem. I think on both sides, I think we don't know our value, right? Whether you're a creator side or even on the agency side, right? You come up with an idea that does certain. We've had all different types of creators here. We talk about that all the time, about the monetization aspect. We have Mary Webb, shout out to Mary Webb, the creator of Flow from Progressive. We've had crazy people, and we're like, yo, look, that relationship right there alone was a 20-year relationship. Now on golf, that you're already going to have that. You're going to be the agency of record forever. It's going to keep money funneling in the agency. It's going to keep asses in seats, right? But what do you get besides that first initial, you know what I'm saying? And that's not right, regardless of who they are as a creator, right? But on the flip side, right, how do creators, because we know Burrell, we actually talking to shout out people in Burrell, right?
Yep, shout out to Lewis. That was one of my first mentors. Shout out to Faye McGee, Legacy. Shout out to Mr. Poe, current CEO over at Burrell Communications. That was the one time I felt most at home doing work, because I didn't have to come to a room and feel like I couldn't, have my twist out one day, or my braids one day, or my press one day. That was the time I had the most authentic of just being in control and advocating for dope ass work. Was ever
that's exactly how they are when they with us. They come to the table being themselves. But I just want to ask that, bro, just a real question.
Yes.
So how do creators, right? We know Burrell. We're from the advertising agency. What about creators like the young Latina you was talking about?
Yeah.
What advice would you get them to understand the value that they have, and how do they get in touch with a Burrell or some of these agencies to do these brand deals?
Yeah. So LinkedIn. Like, everybody's spending a lot of time on IG right now, and we got people still, trying to make shit pop on what is it? The other one that was almost canceled. It's like, go to LinkedIn. If you are a creator, you have got to spend time on LinkedIn. That's where the decision makers are. You don't know by somebody. You don't know by somebody's IG profile that they work in marketing at a major brand. They're not typically saying that. You might know that if they're doing a hashtag from an event, or you see them posting from an event, but other than that, and they might not even be the decision maker to put you on. But if you go to LinkedIn, and I'm gonna toot my own horn too, because I got a training about that too, about like how to navigate and find people that are gonna be able to have the conversation with you and cut you the check. So it's marketing departments, it's communications departments. Sometimes it's the brand team, right? You just never know where the decision makers are. So that's on the brand side. But then on the agency side, you got to know what agencies are really putting influencers on. Because there's some traditional agencies that ain't doing no influencer work at all. They're just not. So you're wasting your time and spinning your wheels reaching out to them when you've got all these agencies. Shout out to the Black agencies that are coming on, that are representing influencers. I know Latoya and them are starting to do it at Black Girl Digital. We've got Agency Clickish. We've got, who else? There's a lot of Black owned agencies that are representing Black creators that are having those conversations. Because that's what I know. We got to stay in our lane, right? We're not good at everything. Fact. If you are good at being a creator and you're not, don't necessarily have the polish and the charisma to have the conversations to go represent yourself for a brand deal, get with a company that can do that for you.
I just, only thing I have to say about that is,
yeah, what's up?
It's just balance though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when you're starting out, your resources are extremely limited. This is the people that we are primarily talking to. You have a great idea, but your resources don't match what it takes to bring your idea to the market, to bring it to market, right? So a lot of the times the conversation is, I know my value might be here, but if nobody, look, and me and Cuzzo talked about this, right? Would you rather have this, like this much of this much, or like this much of this much? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what happened?
I didn't like the this and this and that. It was a lot.
It was
a lot. It was a lot.
Because the thing is like, you can feel like I know my value because you believe. I haven't spoken to a true artist that truly loves their artistry, whatever their artistry is, right? Painting, music, it doesn't matter. A true artist believes in themselves, love what they do. But if nobody is supporting you in the moment, right? And you get a company or you get a person like, yo, I believe in you, but this is what I'm willing to do. When do you decide to say, yes, I feel like it has to be a sacrifice made to get into the room because like you said, you're not in the room, right? So you got to get in the room. You got to build that relationship. Too many times, time and time again, because we are influenced by what we see on TV, by what we see on social media. Oh, the boss and this one and that, and everybody's a CEO and everybody's millionaires. Everybody's making these big deals that when we get an opportunity, we feel like we're on their fucking level. Like, well, this one wouldn't take that, and this one, you're not at that level yet, right?
It's levels to everything.
I personally, to my detriment, lost some opportunities because I felt like, well, I should be getting this and I should be getting that, when I should have had the mentality of get in the room, build the relationship, and then you can get to that later. What's your
I don't have a message button, but message because yes, you got to build the relationship. So that's what I was going back to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the prime place where if you don't know the people, you can reach out and start to build the relationships. Just like if you're looking for a job, reach out to the recruiters so they can know you by name. Like, if you're looking for a job right now, and every time something goes on LinkedIn for a job opportunity and you go click on it, it's like 100 people already applied for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that shit only been up for 2 hours.
Yeah. It's hard right now.
That's because ain't nobody getting jobs with LinkedIn or all these it's relationships. A lot of that stuff's performative. They got to post that just to say they did. They already had people in mind for it. But like, so you got to build relationships. So yes, if you're a new influencer out there who's looking to get into the game, who don't have the context, first of all, let's pause for looking left and right.
Okay.
Because often we want to look at the top influencer who's going to New York Fashion Week, the top influencer who's going to Cannes, the top influencer who's going to Forbes Black, whatever, right? No, look to the left and the right. Dallas, when I first got here, was not thriving as far as the influencer scene. I did the first influencer activation with Dallas Cowboys and AT&T back in 2016, and it was slim pickings to get Black influencers. I had a diverse group of 14. I think 3 of them were Black, and that shit was pulling teeth. However, now Jaleesa is out here. I mean, it's popping. Like the big girls are out here, but also the new girls are coming along too. But what I love that I'm seeing in each marketplace is there's collaboration. There's conversations happening. And that's the other thing that we got to do. So it's like, okay, big sis, let's talk to little sis and give her some game on, because it's enough food out here for all of us to eat. It really is. But I hear this all the time in influencer and creator conversations about like, oh, she's already got it. Who gives a shit if she's already working with Elf or Sephora or whoever? Reach out. everybody's sauce is a little bit different, and there's always to grow and to have a different flavor to what you bring to the table. But again, if you don't have the money to hire a team or the influence enough for a team to be checking for you, you got to work LinkedIn. LinkedIn has morphed itself. I don't know if everybody knows. It's now turning into a platform for creators.
Right.
Like, it's not just about a job board and recruitment. Like, with all the video upgrades and elements that they're having, the way you can have a little creative in your avatar and shouting out people and doing events, LinkedIn is a creator's platform.
Hey, shit.
There's girls that are literally dropping their TikTok content on LinkedIn and getting views, doing numbers.
One thing to say after that.
We gotta pay some bills. We'll be right back.
If you want to learn more about LinkedIn, you could also go to Brandi, but you could also have another option. We have the relationships and revenue course. If you want to know how to build on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is what we do. It would not be no more than the title without the platform. How you think we're able to get these CEOs, CMOs, build relationships all through the platform? Come through, get some sauce from us, get some sauce from Brandi. We're going to make it happen. We're going to elevate your joint. You know what I mean? Elevate your content creation, because that's what it's about. But I do want to say the levels joint, because you said something important, cuz, about it being levels to this shit, right? I was doing the content creation, but you don't know. Look at our journey. You don't know what certain level that you hit, right? And sometimes we have to take some things, but you have to evaluate the relationship and what opportunity could come out of that. And there's a lot of opportunities that me and you went into, cuzzo, that we didn't know what was going to come out of.
That's a fact.
That we had to just bet on it. We know Black Week being one.
But that was my point, cuzzo.
Yeah.
How many times have we taken opportunities where we paid for the opportunity? So we know our value. We had a list of what we've done already, and guess what? To get in the room, they wasn't offering nothing. We had to offer them something, right? That's what I'm talking about.
And not everything's gonna be Black Week, is my point.
Yeah.
Right.
So for creators out there, know what's going to be your Black Week. What is going to be that opportunity that you know what? I'm going to take that. I'm going to take this on the chin because I know what it's going to do. It's going to open up door A, B, C, D. Some opportunities certainly aren't worth it, and they're going to just extract your value and not give nothing back. So you got to be, you know what I'm saying? I just want to tell them both sides.
I just want to say this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. The way we met Brandi also is the way we meet everybody, because we show up to these fucking events ready to go. I'm gonna say it again. We show up to these events, fuck a title, fuck what we've been through in life. We show up with a goal. Me and my cousin put together a plan before we go to any event. We write it down. This is what we want to do. If it's multiple days, what do we want to accomplish day one? What do we want to accomplish day two? If there are people of interest there, who do we mandatory have to connect with? So we go in with a game plan, right? And that's why we've been able to have the success that we've had, because we stick to the game plan. We go in there. We're not standing in the corner. We didn't come all this way to be in the fucking corner and act stush and, oh, look at my outfit. Fuck all that. We came to shake hands and kiss fucking babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to put yourself out there.
Because I ain't gonna lie. When I met you, I thought she was the fucking mayor. I was like, who? First of all, there's so many gyms that need to happen right now. Okay, so yes, don't just pull up nowhere without a game plan, especially if you're not on the stage. One of my favorite movies is The Devil Wears Prada. Right? Okay. There was a big fancy event that Meryl Streep's character was going to, or the main girl, and the newbie girl had a whole list, like a blueprint of all the people that was there. Okay. With a couple of lines about who they were, because the main girl that was in charge, she didn't have time to remember, so she had her girl right here tell, oh, that's such and such, oh, that's such and such, go speak to them. You don't have to have a flunky with you, but you need to have a list. If you're going to ad week in a couple weeks, if you're pulling up at Cannes, hopefully you're pulling up at Cannes to see us, like, have a list of people that are going to be on the stage, have a list of people that are posting about going, and make it a point to go and connect with those people. It's not gross. It's not salesy. People are looking to have conversations and meet people. Like, that's why we're there. So don't spend all this money, especially if it's out of pocket and ain't nobody sending you. You need a return on your investment. Absolutely. So you don't just pull up somewhere without goals in mind and connections to make. But yeah, I thought she was the damn mayor at Black Week. I was like, who's this Negro? Because he had on a velvet black blazer, the loudest in the room, knowing everybody. I don't know how many people I met hanging out with y'all the rest of the damn night.
we had the whole team, man. That shit was a reunion.
It was so fun.
Sometimes it's not like that.
It was actually the funnest night for me. That because we met everybody in that little bitty. It wasn't little, but it was hot, wall to wall in that kickoff.
First night.
It was the first night, the kickoff party, all black.
Yeah,
crazy. First night was crazy. We met a lot of. We had at least 50 guests from the show in it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
50, at least 50. It was to the point like, yo, take a picture here, take a picture there. That's where we met Rohan for the first time.
But let's pause for that because Black Week as a space, right, as a platform, with them 7 taking the chance to create that, because I know they came out of pocket a lot.
Absolutely.
Taking the chance to create that created there's so many stories and connections and deals and partnerships that are still coming from Black Week, but that's because there's so much talk right now about like having a seat at this table. And my paradigm is like, no, fuck a table. Let's go build a building. Let's go build a house. On shit. Like and that's what they did at Black Week. You know what I'm saying? That's what Adrian's doing it with the CCDC. Like, no more are we just saying, hey, we're trying to get in and get this little piece. Now we creating shit. That's what I did with her agency, the podcast. I was tired of hearing from the same old chicks in advertising. Now I love them, the DEI leaders, but it was the same old song, the same old story. I've pulled up 8 chicks on season 1 ladies, excuse me, let me be very clear. 8 bosses. Let me be clear. Message. That's that. 8 bosses that people should know. People should know their story. They're ladies who were bold enough to like make strategic career moves and and we're open enough to tell their story. This is where we learn and this is where we get better, but it's about creating platforms and not trying to fight to get on somebody's stage or in somebody's room.
Big message. But I gotta ask you now, for the bosses you spoke to, what's one of the illest bars you've heard on your show so far?
Oh, there's so many. So be sure to when you're done here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, stay on YouTube and go pop over to her agency on YouTube. We definitely are doing our thing. We broke top 100 in marketing podcasts at launch, which is very hard to do. But some of the bars there's just so many. I just dropped a new episode today with Aisha Bean. Aisha, and she's a DEI evangelist, and she was saying so much about like, yes, the state of DEI is frazzled and crazy right now, but she's one of the people that's been doing the work since before DEI was this big thing. And her whole message is like, when you're true to the work and you can trace it back to the ROI and see how measurable and profitable it is, it doesn't become something that feels like second nature. Like if you're really about your business, it's a part of your business and it's baked in and it's folded in. Like it's not an afterthought and it's not secondary. The same way we're talking about growth, we're talking about diversified growth that has multiple voices, multiple people at the table to make the work and the conversations better. So I love that. Message. We talked about building your personal brand. I got some dope episodes coming up with Ashley. There's just so many great conversations. But again, it's really about creating a platform for you to meet and hear from people that we typically don't hear from, because I don't know, for whatever reason with advertising, I don't know how you feel, Jay, but for whatever reason, we tend to hear from the same people over and over. And I've been in the game for almost 2 decades. I was on year 19 this June. And it's like, okay, who else is out here? Because I know we're out here. Like,
big fact.
Who's out here? So that's
why we created this. Nobody would have me on the show.
Yeah.
Who would know my story unless I put it out there?
Right.
So that's what it goes to, building our own thing, right? Now, I've never been on Ad Age and Ad Week and all that. That should happen as a result of LinkedIn and me telling my story. Me just being like, yo, I was smelling like ribs on BBQs and got 100,000 views on it, and people are reaching out of the woodworks. Like, I relate with your story. Right. The same stories that we hold the chest.
Yep.
That's a big thing I want to tell people. The same stories we hold the chest, man. Let them shits out. Let people know who you are, what you've been through. That's why it's more than the title. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go for it, yo. I want to tell you one gem I heard. I want to hear one of yours, Cuzzo. One of the illest bars you've heard on the show for 2025. But what Dion said, if you're not dead, you need to be. If you're not dead, you better be dedicated. That was that shit. He said people are allergic to the people want the information but are allergic to the execution. That shit was crazy. I was woo.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Woo.
on, run that back. They want the information, but they're allergic to the education.
Execution and education is transferable. You can,
why not?
I love it.
Well, hold up. I gotta get on somebody on Twitch. They call me Ice T. You think I be crying?
Ice T, man. What's that?
I know you calling me Ice T. I don't know if you think I look. I've heard Ice Cube. Niggas thought I was Ice Cube son at the 50th hip hop shit. Niggas thought I was Cube son.
Okay, I can see that through the jawline.
Yeah.
Listen,
stop it, Twitch. You're bugging.
What's yours, Chadeo?
Listen, my mind be running so much. I'm gonna be honest, I can't even recall like a specific gym for 2025 that I've heard on the show. But what I will say about 2025 for us is our journey has been so explosive this year. So that's what I will say, right? I will say I'm excited about the explosiveness and the receptiveness that we're getting this year. But now technically we're on year 3. So that's a very important message, right? We started year 1. Yes, we had some growth. We had some success. We had business. Year 2, we got better. Year 3, we're starting to explode. So once again, now that shows you the journey of the consistency of it, right? Because you can't get to year 3. You don't get to 194 episodes without the 193 that came before it.
Better tell them.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So again, it's the dedication to craft. It's the dedication to doing something and sticking with it and refining it and knowing why it's important, regardless of if nobody else sees the value that you put on it. So that's what I've gotten from 2020. Be honest with you. Like that's the wave I'm riding. And me and Cuzzo talk about that all the time, about riding that wave of just, okay, how do we get better constantly, right? Communication.
Yeah. When I texted you that last week, I was like, what's the goal for the pod this year?
You absolutely did.
I asked you that. I was like, what's the goal? It was like, get better. Yeah. You got to ride your own wave. People will come and try to get on the wave after the fact. They usually do. But, you got to be steadfast enough to ride your own.
Yeah.
Ride your own.
I'm going to ask you too, because you dealt with a lot of. You've done a lot of campaigns. You've dealt with a lot of big brands. Coming from where we come from, that shit is exciting as hell. When you go in here, you go in there, you're flying out on a company car. When I used to do it, people used to be like, how the hell? Well, what are you doing, bro? But I want to know from you, what made you leave that to start your? What was the one thing, the one moment that I quit?
Hold on. Let's be clear. I was gracefully walked out. Okay.
Okay.
Let's be clear for the record. I've been doing this thing for like 19 years, and I had 2 really good runs. One when I was at the marketing arm doing AT&T because I loved the brand. I was a consumer of the brand. It was at the intersection of sports and digital and social. I was thriving. Then at Burrell was my other like kismet moment where I was at the intersection of culture, social. Toyota released the coins and let us do what we wanted to do. Shout out to everybody over at Toyota and my former CMO, Vinay, who's now CMO at Nissan. But like, they let us do our thing. So that was amazing. Then you have less glamorous, less fun things. What I have learned in my career is that if you're not a true fan of the brand or of the product, this work is hard. Like advertising is hard if you're not like really down with the brand.
Message.
Now who have left finance and now they're on Crocs, and I know some people who eventually got onto AT&T and did sports where before they were doing like energy or boilers. I used to do boilers. Like that's just not fun.
Yeah.
And so not only are you having conversations about getting brands to give you more budget because they always want to do more work with less money, right? But then if there's no through line of like, oh, I love this brand, I'm passionate about, that's why people fight so hard to get on Nike and fight so hard to get on Adidas and Puma and like luxury brands, stuff that they actually love. You can see the difference between the work when there's somebody doing work for something that they love, even if they're not on the brand side and they're on the agency side. That's a very, very true thing. So when it came to me and I did my final stint in finance, I was leading the account team for Bank of America over at Digitas. And finance is not sexy. I mean, it was great. We were educating people, but we wanted to have conversations about like bringing on Black influencers like EYL and like Tiffany, the Budgetnista. And it was just like, no, we are going to go with these people. And coming from having unlimited coins with AT&T and then doing multicultural marketing with Burrell and Toyota, it's just like, ugh, like, so what I tell everybody is to, if you can, and it's not always possible, and this is very true, if you can get with on brand side somewhere you love, or get at an agency that's doing work with brands that you love, because it makes the work so much better and it feels less taxing. Because this is not 9-to-5 work, like we all know that, but for somebody else listening in, maybe considering a career in advertising or a future in this space, in this industry, this shit's not 9-to-5. Like it's like 9 to 9 or whenever. And don't be an activation, right? Or don't have a crazy client, because at the end of the day, the client's your client. So if you've got somebody who's a rogue client that feels like they need to text you in random hours, sometimes you gotta chalk it up and take it on the chin. So this is not a faint of heart industry. But yeah, I was a part of the layoffs that happened back in June. So here's me, year 19. And I talked about this on my first guest podcast with Miranda Yelverton. We both had made up our mind. We had been in the industry. Now, we didn't know each other prior, but this was the tune of a lot of people who went to Cannes last year and a lot of people who went to Cannes the year before. We was like, yo, we've been in the game for all these years. We're not the chief diversity officer. We're not the chief creative officer. We're not creating the work that's actually going to get judged. So we're not on nobody's list as far as getting sent to this major event, which is like, you know, the Emmys or the Grammys of advertising. We're not getting picked to do that. So at some point you have to do what? Own your agency, which is what my platform's all about. You got to like make a decision. Like, I'm not going to rely on this agency or this holding company to eventually pick me. I'm not a pick me type chick. So I was like, I told my husband the year before, it was very Black in Cannes in 2023, very Black. And I had FOMO. My LinkedIn was like, I was like, what? So I made a decision. I was like, yo, whatever I got to do, I'm getting to Cannes. So I went and had a conversation. Now, mind you, I was leading the ERG at Digitas at the time. So
major agency off, major
top of the Black community group, and we definitely had coins to go to conferences and do all this. And I was told that Cannes is not a conference. I know you don't have a "fuck you mean" button, or you know, but yeah,
are you out of your fucking mind?
Hey, we got that too. Yeah, we got that too.
Okay. So I was like, what do you mean it's not a conference? It is a conference. There's a whole, when you go to Cannes website, there's a whole downloadable sheet that you send to your agency to tee up the conversation of you going.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. So I had to give that information to the entire BRG, because I was on the whole, let's use your stipend, your educational stipend and your conference stipend to go. Was told no. So then I was like, I was at a very senior position and I had the money to be able to go, but a lot of people that was trying to take the approach of using the stipend couldn't go. I ended up going, had an amazing experience, but I felt so validated in my decision to bet on myself, like we talked about earlier, right? Ride my own wave, get myself in the room. I went with a very specific intention to meet every CEO that I could, every top brand person that I could. I've got conversations that are still happening right now from making the decision to go to Cannes. So I guess the moral of that story is, though, yes, I got laid off. I had made the decision prior to getting laid off to go ahead and go, and I still went. I was laid off June 3rd. Cannes happened like, what, 2 weeks later?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, we still out. I still made the decision to bet on myself. And mind you, a couple of the guests that I've had on the pod, a lot of very meaningful relationships happen because I still continue to bet on myself and go to Cannes. And I'm concepting season 2 with a lot of those relationships. Juneteenth was an entire vibe in Cannes. That was like the blackest Juneteenth I've ever experienced. Outside of the United States, it was the blackest Juneteenth I've ever experienced, and we were in the south of France. It's crazy. So what I say to everybody is like, don't wait for people to put you in play. Put yourself in play. That's number one. But then back to how I've navigated outside of actually being in the four walls of an agency, I'm doing more impactful work. I feel like on the outside, I did my time, right?
Yeah.
I've won awards. I've hired 100% diverse people in the game. I've mentored. I've done AAF Dallas. I've done 4As. I've been a MAPE coach. I've done all the things. I've done my time. So right now I'm just putting people on and having conversations and mentoring those who are bold enough and still excited enough, right? Because the industry is amazing. The industry is amazing. But here's what I know. If we're not in the room to tell our stories, they're either going to not get told or they're going to get told wrong.
Message.
Her agency comes into place, then I'm building community for Black girls, and I'm very unapologetic about it. Black girls in advertising who want to learn the game, learn how to set boundaries, have conversations about, increasing their pay, building community, all the things that I've seen at all these different agencies, because I've been at Publicis, Omnicom, Independent. I've been everywhere, and it's the same story over and over. Where's the community? Where's the real talk? Let's take it. Let's double click into it from the stage, right? From the panel. Everybody's saying the same thing. Go find a mentor, go find a sponsor, go where y'all at, right? Let's actually do the work to keep the bodies in the room that can elevate the people that actually really want to reach back and pull people up.
That's a big fact. That's a big fact. The only thing I can think of as far as the agency like pulling the bullshit, but sometimes they do the bullshit, is that were they winning a lot of Cannes Lion awards? That's a big investment. So when I've seen that investment drop too. If I'm X amount agency and I'm only it's $500 a submission, maybe $1,000 today, so every submission, and I'm in 82 categories, and then I'm sending 45 staff members out there, and then I'm doing this, the hotel, then I got a brand activation just to have my logo on some little pillar on the wall.
Oh, no, it costs some coins to go out and do that. My takeaway is not for you to expect that the brand to send you, especially if you're not working on the work that's going to be reviewed.
Exactly.
Your expectations should be zero that your company is going to send you, unless so that's when you go and sign up for Can Diversity Collective, and my guy with Black Can, and then we've got there's so many people that are taking people over to Can. Go find an experience like that. To your point, Chadeo, earlier about like maybe not having the funds and not having the resources. There's starting to be more opportunities out there for creators and for young talent to partner with these companies that are sponsoring people to go. But I'm just saying, get in the building, because it changes your whole paradigm about like what the industry could be.
Absolutely. I just want to let you know, Instagram is completely on fire right now. Adrian is online. She's commenting. A lot of people are championing what you are saying about betting on yourself and getting in the room and having the talk. So you're getting a lot of engagement. So a lot of people feel exactly the way that you feel. You know what I mean? So if we don't get to every comment on Instagram, it's just a lot of comments coming in. We definitely see you guys. We're going to try to highlight as much as we can. But I want to tell you something, right? You reached out to me last week and you definitely said, what's next? And we had that conversation, right? So I want to let you know this, right? We had the contract to go to Cannes last year, and we had the contract. We didn't sign it because we didn't feel like it was where it needed to be. But upon now, remember 2024, what I told you, right? That was our growing year. Mentally, we stepped back this year and said, you know what? Even if the contract isn't what it's supposed to be, we're in Cannes this year. And we made that decision last week, Cuzzo?
Shit, I think last week, yesterday,
we said that. We said we missed last year. We said we missed last year, not because we didn't have the opportunity to go, but because we felt like we couldn't go in the capacity that we wanted to go in. But we said, fuck that. This year we're in the building, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because once again, right? If we're not there, then we can't have the conversations, right? If we're not there, then we can't make the connections and further anything that, the agenda of what we want to push. So we made that decision. So the same way you made it, we made that decision. So we out of here.
Because look, if it's not y'all, who, then who, right? Yeah. And if it's not this year, then when?
Right.
Gotta announce it too, sis. You know what I mean? April 1st, y'all make sure y'all tune in. Simon Cook, CEO of Com, pulling up. We getting out there.
Hold on, what day?
We getting out there.
April 1st, I believe. April 1st, I believe.
Okay,
5:30 Eastern. Shout out to Simon, man. Like I said, he was definitely, he don't go on a lot of podcasts, and look at the relationship. What's the odds of me working with him? I was working with sales guys.
But then also, why not?
Why not? But who's asking? Who knows to ask that? Ask them to come on the show.
Yeah.
Once again, having a relationship. We see him again. Oh shit, you at Black Week? Yeah, we the podcast at Black Week. I ain't seen you in 10 years. But when you see me,
It's the perfect storm. It's the perfect storm.
Yep.
Y'all betting on yourself, creating a platform to meet and have the conversations with people who y'all want to meet and have conversations with, and then ask them the question. It's the perfect storm of all of that.
Out of questions.
John, Brother John is on Instagram. Brother John is on Instagram. He quoted like the Kanye song. He said, "Negroes in Paris."
Look, it was up. Hold on, it was up. Shout out to D Nice and Kenny Burns for their amazing effort at the party the last night.
Right.
I think by Black At. That was dope. No, Group Black. Sorry, y'all. That was put on by Group Black. Let me be clear.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's a vibe. And so when we're talking about people, hold on, what?
I said shout out to Black At too.
Yeah.
Black At, Group Black, all the
black. Everything black.
Look, it's getting real black in Cannes. So
yeah,
go watch my first episode with Miranda because we talked about it heavily and just putting yourself in play, in position. If you gotta stop going out to eat and cut that Starbucks out for the next 3 months so you can pull up, do that, but get in the building. It just changes you.
But you know what it does too, also, right? When we talk about creating an opportunity, hear me out on this, right? You see, we've had a bunch of people on the show. Mm-hmm. It's about creating the optic, right? So like you said, when you walked in and you seen us and you like, these motherfuckers know everybody. You know what it makes you? It makes you curious. Who are these motherfuckers? Absolutely. Why is everybody talking to them?
Right.
Everybody's energy. So I need to know who they are, right?
Right.
So that's what you have to create. So now we go to Cannes, we know 20, 30 people. When we all end up getting together, it looks like a movement. We could be talking about absolutely nothing, but it's the fact that many of us are together, laughing, joking. It creates a movement. It's why is everybody over there? What are they talking about? It sparks the curiosity. Now we can use that to say, look how we work together. You don't know what we're talking about. You don't know what we plan.
I had no idea. Y'all was just loud and it looked fun.
Right.
But and me being me. So here's what I know also though. Here's the other side of the coin. It was a lot of others standing on the sidelines looking at y'all like, oh shit, they are a vibe. They are having fun. But I walked right up to who are y'all and what the fuck are y'all doing? Because this is lit and this is the type of energy. It was again the energy of the environment that y'all were creating that was also created inside the environment of Black Week. So when we again talk about community, you can create a moment by yourself. I can create a moment by myself, but collectively we create movements. Yeah. That's what it's about. Collectively, these individual moments here and there, they're little ripples. We need waves.
And it's a double positive. You know why? Because number one, it's a positive for the people that went to the event for the experience of it. Number two, it's positive for the people that threw on the event because now visually it magnifies the success of the event because now the look of it is like, wow.
Walt's like it's going up.
We walked in there feeling that. We like, yo, we get upstairs, we gonna turn up because I've never experienced a Black Week. I've been in the industry 10, 11 years, just like you, sis.
Right.
I've had a Black Week. I've been to the ad week. I've been to the social media.
Ad colors, color comms, all the things.
You name them. But when I go into Black Week, we suited and booted, everybody clean. I'm sitting there seeing people not smiling. What the fuck you not smiling for? It's Black Week. Black Week. Nigga, in here. And we started
you not smiling at Black Week?
There's not Black Week. Stop playing with us, man. You over there, you better smile. But like that. So now that you're owner too, I gotta ask you, sis. What's the biggest challenge now that you've stepped out of entrepreneurship? Because as you know, we talk about it and preach it every week. Some days are good days, some days is medium days, some days bad days, right? Yeah. So what does that look like for you? Right? What has been some of the toughest challenges? How you getting through?
Well, I know I kind of jumped around a little bit, but my whole introduction into advertising, I was an entrepreneur. So back home in Kansas City, when, not to date myself, but, no shame in my game, I was teaching people about MySpace and like Facebook first coming out and showing realtors and small business owners, SEO and how to drive foot traffic to their businesses. Like I was at the beginning of social, digital, and then the evolution of it. So back home, I was eating what I was killing. Like that's the name of the game as an entrepreneur. If you don't kill, you don't eat. Like, so it was about knocking doors. It was about making phones ring. I have a background in direct sales, network marketing. I've built a team of huge teams, multi-city teams, multi-state teams. So when it comes down to having good days and bad days, you know what it is, or at least you should. There's enough stories out there about entrepreneurship and how it ebbs and flows. It's an emotional roller coaster.
Facts, though.
So when you get on the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, you got to put the latch down and be ready to ride the full ride. Like, it ain't no jumping off in the middle of Six Flags or in the middle of Disney World. Like, ride it out. Because again, if you're not betting on you, you're back to creating a dream or a job or building a brand for somebody else.
Message.
You gotta listen to him. You can learn something.
Into with the state of the world and the economy and all this automation and tech and AI and AGI, your job that you have right now might not be around. I read an interesting stat the other day on a Substack that I'm subscribed to, and it was like, I think they said 80% of the 80% of the jobs that are around right now weren't around 60 years ago.
Wow.
80% of the jobs we're fighting over right now, because it's a lot of unemployed people, weren't around 60 years ago. So now we've got the evolution of AI and tech and automation and all of this, and the attempted dismantling of DEI and all the things that the people stand for there. You gotta pivot. You gotta get ready. So while it's glamorized to be a CEO and have these lifestyles, CEO might be your way to your family's legacy and survival in the long run, just with the state of the working class. So it's just really time for people to have educated conversations. Like, right now, the playing field's still level. Like, everybody got exposed to ChatGPT, generative AI, and all the things at the same time. So at this juncture, 3 years in the game, I've been a paid ChatGPT person since it was able to pay. If you don't know enough about it to make it useful for yourself now, that's on you.
Right.
Facts.
We can't keep missing the waves, right? A lot of companies now, I happen to be at Digitas last, and I had a client while Digitas was all for let's lean into tech, let's lean into AI, lean into all of these things. We had some very brilliant people there exploring what that avenue looked like. But my particular client at the time was like, no, we're not touching it. I didn't stay in that lane of not touching it. I wouldn't explore it myself. I created a children's book with Midjourney and ChatGPT in the likeness of my son. I was like, okay, that's cool. We're not doing it at work. I'm still going to be in this think tank. I'm still going to go to school at night. Shout out to Kazia on IG of teaching people how to get smart about this stuff. There's no excuse right now to get left behind.
None. You said this 80% of jobs were created, 60 years ago?
80% of the jobs that are right now weren't around 60 years ago.
Come on. And it's going to be negative 30 in another 5 to 10 years.
Exponentially, that's going to increase. Exponentially.
Telling you. Everything. It's gonna be a machine making your burger, drinking your drink, taking your order, doing the sales, prospecting. It's going
driving our cars,
driving cars, flying.
You're not driving my car. Fuck that.
They're not driving. Look, they're not driving mine either. I saw Instagram reel the other day, and it was my friend. They went to South by Southwest, and they got into an Uber, and it was a self-driving Uber.
Yeah.
No.
I need an option. I can press a button.
I need to be like, you know what? I need to pull over here and grab something to eat, or like, just who am I talking to? If it's not,
I mean, listen. When me and Jarrett was in California a couple weeks ago on our way to the venue, we seen the self-driving car. Yeah, we seen. I was like, oh shit.
So let me ask you: was the person in the back were they on a laptop? Like, were they chilling, or were they looking around? Because I'm gonna be the one looking around, making sure we not crashing.
Looking at me, I'm looking at them.
Yeah, they was just like, "What's up?" Like,
ain't this about a bitch?
Nah, I can't be that that's too comfortable.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love the way it's going, but we just have to really, really be smart. There's no reason right now to be left behind. And it's not even to the tune of like investing in it, right? Like with crypto and all the things. It's just about being smart about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you though. You ever see was that like iRobot? You know, when Will Smith was driving the car and he wanted to drive a certain speed in the computer, like, no, you're exceeding the speed. That's why I don't, because I'm a speed. I'm
Me too. My pedal is to the metal.
Yeah, pedal to the metal. I don't want no fucking
don't regulate
me. Yeah, no. I'm late. I need to do 90
on this. I have somewhere to be, and I need to get here at this time. And I know at my rate of speed, GPS is telling me it's gonna take me 15 minutes, but at my rate of speed, it's gonna take me 10.
Right. That's me. Don't take over and fucking hit the brake on me, motherfucker.
No, now if you want to go make my coffee or automate my windows coming up or something like that, but like I'm too type A. I need a little bit more control.
Right. Yeah.
Of the automation.
No, definitely. You know, with that's a great point that you just made. Often in history, they say that those that are like forward thinkers and able to understand what's happening in the moment, they're the most successful for whatever changes happens in the moment, right? I think the awareness is what we really have to raise. Like if we're saying, listen, people, even if you don't like tech, it is inevitable at this point, right? This is something that's not going away. It's only going to do more and more and more. So if you still want to be relevant, and whatever you do, if you still want to be valued at your company, you better learn this shit before the tech passes you and then you're outdated. And then you know what they say? Well, we don't need you no more because now you can't keep up with you know the currency or the time of what we need you to do because you don't know what the systems are. So that's a very important message, right? The new wave is technology.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you must act. You don't got to be an expert at it, but
that's what I was going to say. You don't have to be a thought leader in the space, but know what's going on. Read a white paper, read a Substack. There's enough, and what I'm loving that I'm seeing lately is there's enough Black creators out here and Black people in tech to get the information in a way that we can digest it. Right? It doesn't have to be some PhD written white paper. There's people on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere having conversations about the evolution of tech and how you can get involved, how you should be involved, or at least just some cliff notes about knowing what's going on in the industry. It's critical to have.
Yeah, and knowing what to apply it for. One thing they can't replicate is creativity. What you want them to do is optimize your workflows.
Yes.
That's what you want it for.
Yes.
So how do we use our creativity?
The sauce is the sauce. That's always going to stay with the human being.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Keep that, you keep your job. How do you apply that? How do you apply the AI in a way that's creative that makes the company revenue?
Right.
Make yourself valuable. That's what we got to do, y'all. All day. Build our own tables. Like Brandi said, you're hitting it on the nose, yo.
But it's constant. It's constant education. Education, people. This is something, once again, it doesn't have to be school-based as far as like you go sitting in the classroom. A lot of these online courses you can take at your own leisure. You can learn at your own pace. There's companies like Udemy and stuff like that that teach just a plethora of different courses, but you have to be willing to constantly educate yourself, right? You can't feel like the mentality of a lot of people is I've been doing this so long, I know how to do it. Like, you understand, like I don't need to learn any better. And that's going to be a detriment, right?
It is.
It's going to be a detriment. You have to learn how to constantly learn more. You have to evolve.
Evolve or die, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, again, when I was told no by the brand that I was leading at work, I was still very close to the main guy doing tech and AI at the company. Like I was in all his think tanks. So it doesn't have to be where you can access it at work. You should find a way to access it at work, right? And do it while you can get paid to do it. But if you can't, be strategic about finding other avenues out there. And again, it's not about being an expert. It's just about knowing enough to feel like you don't know enough.
Ooh.
I mean, for real. Like, we are done playing games. Like, this shit, like, I just can't. I can't. I'm to a point where like we can't keep making excuses about what we don't know as a culture.
The
information's out there and shit. I heard eventually Google's gonna be pay to play. Get it while you can.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be
crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. A lot of ad money going in. There's a lot of
pay to play Google. Pay to pay Google is insane.
It's not. It's just what am I paying for? Because how do I know it's accurate based on what are your source in the web? It's just like AI, right? Like that's why we need to really get in touch with AI, right? So one of the main things is who's feeding the data models, who's feeding the AI,
let's talk about
feeding the AI, right? Because a lot of the people that do this AI don't look like us, right? So it's their history, they're this, they're that, they're taking and souring from other unverifiable sources. All that shit. Now stories aren't being told.
Right.
We're going to be watching now. So if we don't know how to deal with large language, machine learning technology, and we don't know that shit, we're just going to be at the mercy of these companies. We need to be learned. That's why STEM is so important, y'all. We get our kids in that shit. We learn this shit. We can actually get our stories told. We can get the information that we need that's appropriate for our culture. We need that. We're going to put in Chat GPT. We was actually working with a company to give you an idea. We was going to work. We was actually going to work with the company, actually get equity. We was working on a shop. We're going to have to circle back because I forgot about y'all.
I actually opened up the app the other day to put some stuff into it.
Yeah, we gonna holler them. But basically, if you put in the chicken McNugget, right, they basically did brand safety for AI, right? So if they say they're working with McDonald's and you go to Chat GPT, what you put in for a chicken McNugget, is it going to be brand safe or is it not? Who's putting that information about what is good for the McNugget and how do you optimize that, right? Now that got the thinking, right? How can you change that? If McDonald's can't do that, optimize the information about their McNugget,
right.
They're gonna do some information about us.
Yeah, because if I got some holistic, anti-fast food, anti-chemical mom writing the AI about chicken nuggets, that shit's trash from her perspective.
Come on,
right? But if I got somebody who's a brand steward and loyalist to McDonald's writing it, it's the best thing since sliced bread. So yes, there's a lot of implications as far as like who is creating the language models and how we use it. Then plus you've got such an effort of like everything being shut down from the banned book clubs and all this stuff. Again, if that's not being fed in, all the kids and all the new generations using it coming up, it's erased.
Yeah.
That's going to be the encyclopedia.
It's not there. And that goes back to the parenting. And I love that we're all three parents on this line. And the fact that we have to continue as parents to pour into our kids and make sure that they know what we know they need to know.
Like, but you know what it is? Damn you. You know what Brandi? Look, I love our culture. I love our people. It has to start with taking personal responsibility on who you are. Plain and fucking simple. We as a culture need to start taking more personal accountability and responsibility for what we do, what we learn, how we move as an individual first, instead of trying to always put off what is happening to us or happening around us and say, oh, that's not my fault. You know, I don't have any control over that. I don't have any control over that, but you do. And your control starts with what you're doing as a person. See, and I think we have a problem with that. You understand what I'm saying? Because
personal accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, look, Brandi, we're trying to tell people the time for you to, in a sense, have this safe job is over. That word safe, air quote, that, oh, I work for the city, I work for the right.
It was never safe.
But in the space of, it's not like sales where it's performative based and stuff like that, where you're like, look, I get a guaranteed check. I would have to kind of like run somebody over to get fired.
Yeah.
You sort comfort in that and say, well, I don't have to do but so much and I can kind of like survive at this level.
I had cousins on the East Coast that had a good government job for years and that shit's gone.
Right. So now that's over, right? Now that's over. And the message that we're trying to tell you guys, people, is listen, man, this is the time where everybody has to become a hunter. Like, you have to learn how to hunt now, because you waiting for somebody to bring your food to the table, cooking, and all you got to do is go up there with your plate. Those times are over.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to not bring it our way.
Correct. So we got to start taking, like, again, we talked about it the other day. I don't know. I'll turn. Yeah, you can see it this way. These are all the. Not all of them, but these are so many lanyards from so many events, and I keep them. I'm nostalgic like that.
Yeah.
Because I tell people all the time, it's about betting on yourself. It's about being in a place where you can learn. So we do podcasting, but guess what? We visit other podcast summits.
Absolutely.
You understand? We visit other conferences to keep learning, to keep getting better. We're not saying, oh, because we got a platform, because we got a certain amount of guests, we feel like, we live in our own hype. We don't have to get better.
No.
You have to continue to put in that effort, or one, you're going to get stagnated, or two, you're never going to reach any type of a level where you can actually get comfortable. And that's the conversation we need to start having with people right now, because they're too comfortable. Get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable, because if you don't get uncomfortable now on your own and make yourself better, they're going to make you uncomfortable later.
You better
and then you're in trouble.
Message.
Talk about, because to your point about asking me how did I leave advertising, no, I was gracefully
right.
shit
19 years.
Mind you, I might have been quiet quitting and just like jaded because I've been in the game for a minute, or just not working. Because I ain't gonna lie, if somebody comes with a dope ass brand, at a dope agency, I might reconsider and throw my head back in the ring. But I'm saying, like, if you don't have a game plan and set yourself up for success and like own your agency, you won't have something to do. Like when they was like, you know what, B, it's good. It's not you, it's us. It's business. That was the conversation, right? Yeah. I was not in control of that conversation. A. B, I did not know that conversation was coming. Mind you, I was still leading the largest ERG, which was the Black Employee Resource Group.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot. I was on the largest account.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, business is business. Budget is budget. Client compatibility. Can we talk about that?
Big thing.
That was a factor. Client compatibility, makes you disposable, regardless of your level, regardless of your relationships. I got nominated for Ad Color Rockstar something. I had a letter of reference from the CEO of the company, from my managing director, from the head of HR and talent. I have dope relationships that are still there, but business is business. So when we talk about having your strategy set up and knowing what your move could be if somebody makes a move that you didn't know was coming, we have to stop being, volatile toward that. We have to be more strategic about how we map out our careers, our lives, our relationships, everything. Because with the state of the world, both economically, from a job market perspective, socioeconomically, it's volatile out here. And we can't continue to just go with the flow, because there is no flow. Nothing's normal.
Nothing's normal.
Yeah. We got Brother Graham putting a comment on Instagram. He said people need to stop going to work to meet their coworkers, and they need to start going to work to meet their co-owners.
Yeah, yo, Brother Graham.
Message.
Graham.
Message in the comment.
That goes back to what I said earlier about left and right.
Yeah.
Right? We always strive and aspire to talk to the person at the top and talk to the person on the stage at the conference. That's cool. I might get around to meeting whoever was pitched to be put on the stage. But I made so many dope relationships. The guys from Navient.
Oh yeah. Shout out to my boy.
Those are my dudes. I met them at the very first. We went to the Shannon Sharp talk at Black Week. They were sitting in the row behind me. I wasn't there to talk to Shannon or the young lady that was moderating. I'm trying to see who's left and right of me.
Yeah.
Because that's what matters, and that's what we should be doing at work. There's 3 things you should take from every role. You should take the.
Okay, wait. Before you start, we gotta give the bell, because it sounds like we're going in the 7th period right now.
Okay, let's get it.
Here we go. Let's go. 3 things. Here we go.
There's 3 things you should take from every job. You should create a portfolio of all your work. There should never be a time when they turn off your internet access or they disconnect you from the email or from the server and you don't have a portfolio. Like, what?
Right.
You should take relationships, right? You should take left and right relationships, because to your point, you never know if your co-CEO, right, or your co-founder is right next or left to you, right? And you should take the experiences. And what I mean by experiences is don't just do your lane of expertise. Learn something else lateral, because you don't know what your next role, what you need to have as far as in your arsenal, moving on to your next role. I was a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, I did social and digital, but I was nice with employee communication. Like, I am the consummate account lead. Like,
consummate
account lead. Like, I took my own horn about that. Like, I've got clients that still want to babysit my kids from like years ago. It's just about, to your point about building relationships too. So those are the three things that everybody don't get stuck getting your internet turned off and you don't have that portfolio of that dope work that you did that won the agency or the brand or the company an award, and you don't have the sizzle reel downloaded, or you don't have the context, the personal context. Because once your email's off, how you getting in contact with your colleagues?
And they always cut you off at the worst times too.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Just when you was thinking about doing it, no.
Just when it was like I was just about to reach out. No.
They got my ass one time like that. I was like, don't.
They got me too, I ain't gonna hold you. I got like that too one time. I ain't gonna hold you.
Stay ready. Stay ready.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready.
I ain't gonna hold you.
The first time they got me. Now I know.
Stay ready.
I ain't gonna say
relationships are everything. Relationships are everything, and you got to build those. Now, I'm not talking about being friends with everybody, because there's some people that I blocked on social media that were colleagues of mine. You don't need to be all in my business. I don't need you checking for me. But if there's somebody that's like down for you, a co-conspirator that you found that you work with, like, because that's the other thing too. I'm off of allies. You can't come up to me and say you're an ally. You cannot. People have to stop self-proclaiming to be an ally.
Okay.
Somebody of color that's marginalized or disenfranchised has to deem you an ally. You can't raise your hand and say, I'm an ally. Show me the receipts. How are you an ally? And message an ally. I need you to be a co-conspirator. Are you getting in the car with me? Are we rolling out? We pulling up together? Like, don't come chatting me after the conference or after the meeting and saying, oh, that was rough how they spoke to you. Or I don't believe that you feel that way, or I didn't believe that you did that thing, or I love your idea. It was great. Say that shit in the room.
Yeah, I agree. But I ain't gonna calculate devil's advocate too, though, sis. It's been times, like I said, where I know I've got done wrong. And everybody's gonna raise their hand and say it was fucked up, right? But guess what? I've had opportunities where the people seen I got fucked over, and it's an opportunity. Like, for instance, I was going while my second youngest son was born.
Yeah.
1 week from him being in the hospital, I had to go to Florida every week. I was flying out on the red eye Sunday night, Monday morning, the whole week. My baby mother, first time mother, and it was either that or you don't have your job no more.
Right.
So when you know what I'm saying, so it's like they've seen me get done wrong, and then I still got fired 6 months later after making that investment. And they see me doing all that, like, yo, he really puts it in. He's really getting sales. And that's how I got into the job that the agency joined that got me to the LinkedIn. He saw me doing it, like, yo, Jarrett, you do you have something right now? Nah, I just happen to be in between jobs, just left the Social Listening Talk Walker, while I was one of 333 employees that were Black.
Yeah.
1 out of 2 out of 334, just me and another brother from San Diego.
I hate it. I hate it for you. Been there, done that.
That's how it be.
That's not a statement. Hated it. It's the worst. It's the worst. I was at an agency where I was in the whole agency of 700. I was one of 13. It was 13.
Oh. And that we all know each other. And then we gotta look at it. We gotta make it. Sometimes maybe sometimes they be corny. But I gotta say,
because all skin folk ain't hip folk, and we know that. Like, you're not down for the cause. Like, but back to the ally and the advocacy. Like, support's an action. It's not a conversation. It's an action. So to your point, yes, there may not always be the opportunity. And I'm not saying that in a vacuum.
Of course.
There's not always the opportunity to be an advocate and be vocal and step in the line of fire for somebody in the moment. But it's about knowing your values as the ally or as the person that has been, discriminated against or had bias, put upon you to know what you would say in case, right? Because the worst thing, and I've done it so many times in my career before I learned my voice, was going home with the shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Because I just didn't know what my value was, and I didn't know what I stood for, and I didn't know I had certain level of autonomy, right, and power to say the thing or pull the person to the side. Like, even if it's not in the moment, figure out a way, if there's an opportunity to go to the bathroom, decompress, whatever you need to do, go sit in the car. But you should have relationships built at the company where you can have advocacy there, whether it's a sponsor or a mentor or an ally or somebody, because the worst thing to do is to go through a career experience with nobody in the building to tap into. You shouldn't have to go to the group chat. Sis can't help you in the group chat. She could probably give you some words of wisdom and some advice, but who's going to lock arms with you, whether it's via email later to say, you know what, by the way, the comment that you made to Jarrett, that was trash, right? And I need you to like handle him better or differently next time. But if there's nobody in the four walls, that's a lonely place to be.
I've had people say it, but they not gonna put their job and livelihood on the line for our cause. I can't expect that of anybody.
What do we say though? Take responsibility for yourself. That's again, like I'm with you, and I'm with you, Brandi, because I'm with you. Like I'm just a different animal. Like be clear. Like I have lost my job.
That's our first Be Clear. I've been waiting for Be Clear because 3 episodes ago you said Be Clear like 20, 50, 11 times. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Before you go, what your brother Graham just said, allies aren't willing to risk their dominant group status for you. That's real talk.
That is real talk, but that's not an ally.
That's
what I'm saying. Not only is it not an ally, but you don't help the collective. See,
you don't.
This is what we're talking about.
Yes.
What's the goal? See, what's the goal? Is the goal uplifting us in general within this company, within this organization, or is the goal to make it look like I'm trying to uplift you and play the game? See, that's why I always go against the whole playing the game shit, because I feel like it's phony a lot of times where it's like, yeah, I'm your brother, I'm your sister, yeah, we rock, da-da-da-da. But when it comes time down, when time comes for you to be vocal about it, right? Because my thing is the action has to match the moment, right? So if we're all in a board meeting and you get completely disrespected, I'm not talking about like, hey, listen, you're not doing your job, you get corrected. That's different. If you get completely disrespected and it's 3 of us in the room, we don't immediately check whoever's disrespecting you in the room because it's happening right then and there. Then what we do after that doesn't really matter because in the moment, the power wasn't felt.
Right.
The power wasn't felt because they're like, oh, nobody. So when you do it after the fact, it kind of waters it down.
And then also it creates an environment of complacency. You're showing as a leader, if you're in the room as a superior to anybody watching that happen, that's our culture here.
Thank you.
That's our culture here. So then when we talk about toxic work environments and the fact that people can't pull up and I love what your conversation last week with or Tuesday, what's today? Fuck. Last week with Adrian, and we were talking about showing up as your authentic self. Remember that conversation? Go back and forth about that. There are avatars of your authentic self. But when going back to my original point about self-identifying yourself as an ally, that's cool. I'm not saying be an ally. I would prefer you not be an ally, but I would also prefer you not say that you're an ally, because what I don't need is an ally who kind of has my back in the corner or in private or in the dark. Like, unless you are going to pull some strings or have some conversations to advocate for me, create a better work environment where others like me can not just survive, but we can thrive. That's cool. I know what it is, right? And as a leader in the room, when you saw that happen and you didn't nip it at the bud and kill it from the top down right there to show that there's a certain level of decorum and respect that we're going to have across the through line as this company, that's just not the place where you need to be. Remove yourself.
It's this island mentality.
That's
the
cool.
Island mentality. Yeah. Oh, it's only happening to them. But my relationship with whoever's doing that is completely different.
Because you're not
happen to me. And that's what I'm saying.
If there's any inkling of a disrespectful, toxic culture where one person can be affected negatively in that way, it can happen to anybody. Just the conversation would just be a little bit different.
And message. What we're saying is correct. And how many stories have we heard, Cuzzo, that people are not going to jump out? You may do it. I may do it. Brandi may do it. We've heard stories from white women on the show, from executives talking about, give me head right now. We've heard it on this show.
Yeah.
It's still not like that. That's just what happens, bro. So when you got the bills that got to get paid, you might not have a certain amount saved up. You might not have this. You got something planned. You about to.
That's cool. That's cool.
Saying not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice.
Yep. And I know what it is.
More times than not. They're not going to sacrifice their livelihood and what they have.
They're not.
Else. If it's for you, yes.
They're not. Yes.
I'm not angry at that. I agree with you.
Me
All I'm saying is when I say personal accountability, it's the man in the mirror. Like the way my personality works is if I see some shit go on like that, it's gonna bother me all day long. I'm gonna bring that shit home with me. It's gonna affect me mentally. I'm not gonna be able to let it go because when I look at myself, I'm gonna be like, yo, you was a sucker for not saying nothing. I'm just saying me personally, and I'm not saying you have to be explosive, but I do believe that something just has to be said. Period. Like you can, like, okay, what version of your authentic self? No, I'm not gonna bring the complete street version in, but I can talk very eloquently and be like, listen, we're not going to tolerate that type of disrespect. This is not a place for it. Like you can express, but it just, something needs to be said to show that this is not an environment where that should be happening.
Right. It's even a question from a lateral colleague. Oh, so this is the type of environment like that we're having. That's just a clarity question.
Right.
I'm not even sticking my head out on the line. That's a clarifying question.
Right.
Is this the environment like that we're creating? Now, let's be clear. I've evolved and there's a certain level of, and this is what I wish more people were real about as they evolve through their career. At my junior level, I wasn't this, popping my shit about like and being vocal, right? There is a way to play the game. And I liken it back to, every time I say play the game, I think about, there was a conference a year or two ago where a friend of mine said from the stage that career is playing a game. And she was reprimanded later on by a senior person that says, you can't say it's playing the game, but it is playing the game. You have to be strategic and you have to make your next move your best move, or at least know what your perspective is so that you can make an educated decision about how you move. But when we talk about being junior, right? Because there may be people that resonate with what I just said in my position and your position, who are mid to senior level, who are also in a position of power where we can say the thing, call people to task, call people out or call people in, whatever your vibe is. I'm more of a call people out at this stage in my career. But if you're junior, okay, that's cool. If you don't have that that wherewithal or that agency, that's cool. But that's, again, goes back to having relationships, right? Yeah. If you haven't cultivated a relationship where there's somebody that you can at least confide in to say, you know what, who do I go to to have the conversation about how Jeff, Sally, Tom, Bill, or Bob spoke to me? That's the very lonely, negative, just awful place to be. Yeah. Right. So no, everybody's not going to be mid senior career level where they can go call somebody and say, hey, step into my office. Yeah. It has to come down to knowing the relationships that you have, the chessboard of the moves that you can play, and the people that you can call to come to your aid. Right. The other thing is you could be a brand new person that gets talked down to. You could be in your second or third day. You don't have that relationship. Okay, let's talk about that. But then you also have to know what allows you to sleep at night. Do you then go and have the conversation the next day? Because some things are not always in the moment. Nope. And I want to be clear. Everything is not let me go and wring their neck or ring the alarm right now. Again, it goes back to being strategic, knowing what your values are, and knowing how to move and how to, play the game. Yeah.
Play the game. Because some people could go be like, damn, I feel like a sucker, but guess what? I could afford Christmas.
Right.
Some people are gonna say that.
But not even that, because okay, shit. Let's talk about
that's real talk.
Wait, let me just add this. Before you go, let me add this. We have a responsibility to our ancestors. A lot about the reason that we can even have this fucking platform right now as Black and brown people, we can have ownership and things of that nature, is because people spoke out at their detriment that got, in a sense, nothing but negativeness from it. Our ancestors did that for us to have this ability. So I feel like as Black and brown people, we owe it to the next generations. Not every time, like, you understand, like situation, babe, but I'm saying, but we have to step up to the plate sometimes and say, this is not about me. Right. It's not about me. It is about the culture. It is about who's going to come next. Because once again, history has shown the moment you allow something, the moment you give something away, right, you never get it back. So if you give that respect away or you allow this type of disrespect, they don't self-correct. they're not going to self-correct, and they're not going to go home and say, you know what, man, I shouldn't have talked to Brandi like that. That was pretty bad, man. No, they're going to say, oh, that was acceptable. Now that's a baseline for them. And then it's only going to escalate from there and say, well, shit, you accepted that. Let me see what more I can get away with.
Well, wait, can I just say this? I agree with you, bro. The coach is not going to pay your bills. How many? Let me show you right. How many courses the coach brought today? Can you check?
What?
Can you check how many fucking courses the coach brought? Because they don't pay the bills.
No, you're right. No. And again, it may not be in the moment. It may not be in the moment thing.
Sometimes
it's definitely a later thing. It's definitely a later thing.
No, for sure. I'm with you. We got to be strategic.
No, I know. You're right.
Playing the game to perfection, but sometimes, we got to know when to hold it, when to fold them. I'm a card player.
Yep.
But then here's the thing, right? I feel like, again, should I do it? Let me do it.
What you gonna hit?
Culture.
Ladies and gentlemen, these next views of Chadeos and Chadeos alone, they do not represent the collective bargaining agreement of Morning Attack.
Okay.
Please be advised.
Oh my God, please be advised. This is just a solo opinion.
I'm just saying, again, for me as a person, just me personally, I have to be my authentic self. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I just react the way I do, because I call it straddling the fence. If you have faith and you see, what is faith? Is it a true belief in something? So if the true belief is what's for you will always make its way to you, and what's not for you, you will not have because it wasn't designed for you to have it, then I believe no matter what you do, if you be your authentic self, yeah, you might take a road less traveled, but eventually what is meant for you, you will get there. So that's what I'm saying. So if you truly have faith in who you are, and you truly have faith in I'm dope and I know that I'm going to get somewhere, then you should not need to kind of like filter yourself so much where you're playing the game. That's what I'm saying.
But back to the levels, right? Because it's a new hire level, it's a fresh out of college level, it's a mid, you know what I'm saying? It's levels. And so I again want to be very clear. I wasn't popping my shit and very vocal about my boundaries and owning my agency, but that's what I'm creating with her agency is like, here's how you have these conversations at all these levels.
Right.
So you don't have to be the one in your second decade just feeling comfortable now about having these conversations. It's how do you have this conversation as a new hire? Right. You're on day 2. And somebody, went left with you. What's the moves that you need to make, right? That's what it's just about, just being strategic and knowing where to go and what you have at your disposal to help you from
for content purposes. Let's get to it then. What happened to you in your career? How'd you deal with it?
Hold on. Let me get the bell ready. I feel like we about to get a story. I feel like we about to get a story out there.
Hold up. Okay, what?
Hold up. We going. Ooh, the shit. Let's get to the shit.
Let's get to it. Okay, what was the question, Jay?
The shit's all right. So the shit is right now. Basically, how did you deal with that? What's one time in your career where you dealt with something where somebody said something out of pocket, something crazy? What was the one that stick out to you? How'd you deal with it?
I think I talked about it on the pod, but I got to, and this, I wasn't very well in my career. I've had 2 instances, one where I was told I was very articulate and I was like, yo, what did you expect? Yeah, I am. And that's not a compliment. So don't use that language anymore with me or anyone else who comes through the doors, regardless if they're junior, if they're a diverse person, because I'm checking all these boxes, right? I'm new. I'm one of the only Black girls. I was junior. Like, so whatever approach that you latched on to feel you needed to say that to me, whether it was me being junior, whether it was me being young, whether it was me being Black, however it came out, don't do that again. I think that resonated with her, and I think that message was very clear. I had another opportunity to correct the manager because, again, I've been in the field of social media my entire career, and I went and I've been very mindful about, and this is something else for people who work in the world of digital and social, be very clear about your company policies and what you can and cannot post on social and who's watching you on social. So at this juncture, I was supervisor level. I made a post on Facebook because I was heavy on Facebook at the time. And I've always been very vocal about um, just people being disrespected and workplace issues and trials and tribulations of being Black in corporate and all that. So I reposted, I think, a meme or some kind of comment. My then boss assumed, based on a conversation or a situation that happened earlier in the day, that it was about him. So hit dogs are always gonna holler, right? Always. So, but you have to be mindful of like how the emotional IQ of the people that you're dealing with at your job. I happen to be dealing with someone who yes was older than me, yes has been in the role. This was at the Richards Group for a while. But his EQ was very low. Mine was higher than his. I was younger than him, but my EQ was higher than him.
It says even if we go, and can you just tell them what the Richards Group is? That's major. Like a lot of people don't know what.
Yeah, the Richards Group was at the time the only independently owned ad agency here in Dallas, Texas.
Message.
One of
Major.
Major.
And it's huge. They do great work. There's great people there. Shout out to Terrence, who was just inducted into the Advertising Hall of Fame, which that was a long time coming. It should have been done years ago. Shout out to Trent, who's still there holding it down. But I had a great experience there, but I did have some management there that was not conducive to helping a young talent develop. And so I was called into the office about a post that I made on social media. And first of all, I'm like, we're not friends. So how did you see it? So you stalking me on social, like what's good? Then had a conversation to him point blank, like I'm very clear about the social media policy. I'm like one of the leads here on the social media team. So at no point would I put anything disparaging online about you, any of my colleagues, any situation that happens, at my place of employment. You don't shit where you eat, right? So I was very mindful of that and let him know, like, this is a you problem. I can't help you with how you personally feel about some stuff I posted on my personal social media. Now, there was no further conversation. Of course, that was definitely a fork in the road or one of the red flags down the path of me. That was the only job that I ever quit on the spot.
Wow.
Eventually but when you're in a toxic work environment, you're in a toxic work environment, right? And so all the time in relationships or in friend circles or there's so many facets of life when we talk about red flags, right? Yeah. You see the red flags. You see them, right?
You know when you go home.
You know when you know. And this was just one of many. Fast forward to, I don't know when that happened to when I quit, but like there was another time when I was just called into office and I told my husband the night before, I was like, shit, were we married then? Yeah, I told my husband the night before, I was like, you know what, I can't, this is too much. And there's something that as Black women, and I'm sure Black men experience it too, but there's an emotional labor that we have at work. So there's the labor of the work that we're actually assigned or hired to do, right? That's in our job remit, that's in our roles and responsibilities. Then you add the tax of, as Black women, we always show up and show out. We do, because we know, based on old paradigms from growing up from our mothers and our grandmothers, that you have to do twice as much to get half as much in the workplace or just in life in general, right? So we've got the work that we're in our job description. We've got the work twice as hard to get half as much. Then we have the emotional labor of being the only one in the room or one of a few in the room. So then the way that you move is predicated on how you think people are going to have the perception, not just of you, but of what you represent. As a young talent, as a Black woman, as a Black person, right? There's just so much additional labor that we carry in our roles. And so when I had that red flag, I had a couple more red flags, and it just got to the point where this last time when I was called into the office, I had already teed up a farewell Dear John letter. And it was like something about you're going on PIP or performance. I was like, you know what? It's good. Like, we are good. I hit send while he was talking and blasted the email because I already had it queued up to all of my friends in the agency. So they're all getting this drop of this email. And I was like, you know what? I closed my laptop. I was like, this is gonna be my last day. Actually, this is it. Here's my badge. Here's my laptop. Because, and this was, I wasn't senior. I was not I was, mind you, I was a supervisor. This is not a VP level, which I eventually ascended to in my career, VP group account director. This was very junior, but this is again when I really got in my bag of owning my agency and being very clear on the emotional toll that it was having, that was impacting my physical ability to come home, be a productive wife, be a productive mother, be a productive friend, be a productive daughter.
Message. There it is.
And so it's 2025 in the year of our Lord, Allah, whoever you deem to be your higher power. And we have to stop playing small. We have to stop being lax about what our values are, what we stand for, and how we move in the world. Because to your point earlier about giving them an inch, they're going to always take a mile.
There it is. There it is. So we got a comment. Nadej said the labor of being cautious of how you're perceived. She loved that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is so important how we show up every single day, because that's the consistency of things, right? Mm-hmm. That's the consistency of things. And I believe that collectively, once we start showing up in a certain manner, right? And we draw the line and say, this is what we're going to accept and this is what we're not going to accept. Again, collectively, right? Powering the people, then we're going to see true change happen. But as long as we're stagnated, as long as it's one person, then we're going to keep playing this game. We're going to keep going round and round and round in circles. And not to say change will never happen, but it's the time frame is just going to be like, we might not even be around when it does.
It comes with ownership.
Yeah, it comes with ownership. And back
how many times do we have people come on and be like, yo, we're unscripted, right? But we also know some brands have red tape. We had to be Coca-Cola. We have
say that because half of the ladies that I interviewed for season 1 of her agency were still very much in positions of power and at agencies, right? Yep. So yes, they gave me their very vivid, very candid stories of how they persevered and how they own their agency. However, when we go back to the point of playing the game, there's a certain decorum and level of conversation and level of authenticity that you can bring to conversations to still drive a message home, but then also still know that, you know, at the end of the day, to your point, we got to make it to Christmas or whatever that thing is. Or I love my job. Yeah. So I also I want to be clear about, it's not all doom and gloom. Again, the advertising agency experience, the industry is beautiful if you can find the right intersectionality of doing work that you love at a place that respects you and values your brilliance in your time. Yeah. However, if it's not, you got to have enough agency to know what your tipping point is, like what's the max that you can take, and then have relationships and strategic things in place so you can move around.
Yeah, I love it. I know we coming up on time because we going, but you know, listen, I know Cuzzo normally asks this, but because your mom is such a major influence in your life and she's championed you for so long, you know, we always ask all of our guests, now, what is your mama I made it moment? Because you said your mother was so influential in your life.
Is right. Very so much.
Now, what was the moment where you actually got a chance to look back at your mother and be like, your daughter did that shit, right? Like, what was that moment for you?
I don't know. Maybe when she got to watch the Soul Train Awards and I was broadcasting live down there doing an activation, and I'm posting live on Instagram in my on the red carpet, walking the steps of the Hollywood Theater, I think is where they have it, with the red carpet and the red steps. It's like the Hollywood can red steps. Mm-hmm. That was pretty dope because she was like, look at you. Or another dope moment that she enjoyed was when I asked Jerome Bettis for a ride back to the airport at the end of our activation because I didn't want to wait for my Uber. And I was like, hey, by the way, my husband's a big Steelers fan. He's an Army brat, but he's a Steelers fan. And I was like, hey, can I get this little quick video? You could shout out my husband. And we did it in the car, shot the video. He shouted him out, said, hey, Mike, whatever. And I sent it back. But my mom loved it so much because she knows how much of a football fan I am. And she knows how much like that role. I think what about that role and those experiences is she really saw me shine and like blossom and be in my element. And again, that goes back to, sorry, I live by an airport.
It's
I don't
okay.
hear that. But it goes back to just finding a place where you can thrive.
My fault, that shit sounded like a B-52.
I know.
what?
Yeah, I live right next to a local
I thought it
airport.
was a bomber. I thought it was a bomber flying over. Like, Canada said, "Fuck the electricity. We bringing the bombing planes."
Go to the shelter. You see the party.
Picking up everything. Okay. But yes, that was I live really close to the airport. But yeah, it's the moments when your parents can see you shine, right?
Yeah,
and they can see you genuinely thriving and at your happiest and just really doing meaningful work that you love, that you're winning awards for, and that you are excited about.
Yeah.
That's what every parent wants to see.
And she can walk around with her chest high like, that's my baby. That's my baby.
Look,
that's my goddamn daughter.
Like, she's like, that's there. Or when I did college football playoffs, she was like, yeah, my baby's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Running that program, right?
Now we love it. We absolutely love it. You know, there's a lot of people, like I said, the comments are just, they're flooding in. You got a lot of support. There's going to be a lot of people that want to get in contact with you, that want to learn more about your agency. Do us a favor and please let the people know if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that and what's the best way to get in contact with your agency if they want more information.
Yeah, I mean, doors are open. We officially opened the doors to her agency, The Collective, again, at any level in advertising. If you are a Black woman, this is your call to action to come. Build community, learn how to be strategic, build boundaries, talk negotiation strategy, your 3-year career plan, all of the things that I wish I had coming up in the game. So that's what her agency is really about. We are concepting season 2, but if you haven't already subscribed to her agency, the podcast, we are everywhere where you can get your, I'm going to say your favorite podcast hosted by a lady, because this is your favorite podcast hosted by some gentlemen. So I'm going to say your favorite. We're on Spotify. Yes, we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes, and we are on YouTube. So go to heragency.co to check us out there, or you can find her agency on LinkedIn or Instagram. We're having meaningful conversations with ladies who are bold enough to pick up the pen, write their brief, and own their agency. Basically, they're not taking no shit.
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, it is, man.
I do want to say for all the listeners, man, we appreciate y'all rocking out. We also noticing a lot of people joining in now. In the last half an hour, we've been spiking up. Keep giving us feedback. If y'all want us to start late, if you just getting over work, let us know what's going on. Let us know. Because we about to do some real talks next week. We got Ty Heath from LinkedIn coming up on Thursday.
Okay, Ty's dope.
Ty's dope. We got Denisha Lomax. We got Doris Taylor, the CMO, William and Mary Law School. We got Dr. Sophie Balzar. She's coming next week. We also got Gwen Jameer, one of the largest e-commerce brands, Black-owned, women-owned brands in the world, coming through on the tour. We got Monique Nelson. Then we've got Simon Cook.
Oh, Monique's pulling up. That's dope.
We got Monique, of course.
Yeah, the big
series with Monique. That's okay. 6. And you already know, April 1st, we got Simon Cook. April 3rd, Tariq Hassan, former CMO of McDonald's, pulling up. April 8th, Ash Cash. We got a couple surprises for y'all in April. We about to go crazy.
We always go crazy.
We going crazy. We've been going crazy. This is crazy now.
Well, shout out to y'all for just centering women. I know y'all did this last year as well for Women's History Month. It's a big deal, and you know we are relegated to a month for Black Women's History Month, as we are to a month for Black History Month, but it's all year. It's 365. And what I just want to commend y'all on is, you know, taking up space enough to ride your own wave and create a platform where you can create the visibility, but not just create visibility for vanity's sake, but create visibility for community's sake. And that's really what y'all are creating here, is a community and an opportunity for us to be exposed to each other and other people that we definitely should know in the collective. So shout out to y'all for that. And number 1. And number 2, shout out to y'all for just centering women this month. Because a lot of people, you know, they did a post or they had an event. Y'all are rocking this for the full month, and you have highlighted some amazing people. And it's important and it's necessary and it's needed. So shout out to y'all.
Black women,
like what we said, right? Lead by example, right? Lead by example. We're not afraid to travel the road less paved. And with that being said, listen, ladies and gentlemen, once again, another phenomenal episode. Phenomenal of More Than the Title. So, Brandi, we already hung out with you, but just for the record, you're part of the More Than the Title family now. You already know that anyway, but you know, let's just do it formally, right? So now, welcome to the More Than the Title family. What that means is anybody that's been on the show before you, any prospective guest that's going to come on the show after you, they're part of our community. All of our guests understand that. If you want to meet any of our guests, all it takes is for us, all it takes is for you to just reach out and say, hey, I would like to connect with this person. We'll do the scheduling. We'll get on the Zoom calls, connect you guys. We jump off and build, right? We do not gatekeep on this show, right? And you already hung out with us in New York. You already know if you ever in New York again.
Hey, no, I'm gonna hit you up. I'll text you later on. I'll be up there next month.
Oh, it's over. It's over. You know,
I was trying to do this live. I couldn't make it happen, but I'll see y'all next month.
Okay, so you know what that means. We ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna tear the town up. And with that being said, listen, this woman came on the show and she gave you her story, right? And a lot of the things that stuck out to me from her story is the fact that she was able to work, and not only work, but be a mom, right, to 2 children, support her children the way her mother supported her, be a wife to her husband, be a friend. That goes to show you something, right? Stop complaining that there's not enough time in the day, right? Time management is super important. You do the things that are important to you. And she showed you that I can be a career woman and a phenomenal mother and a phenomenal wife, and I can still hustle and keep climbing this ladder. And eventually she opened her own, right? Says she's not lazy, right? She's ready to get to it. She's always educating herself, and she's always pushing the boundaries. What does that mean? You know what it means. The dream is free.
But the hustle is so
separate.
Go ahead, say it. End it off.
It's separate. Yeah. You can get it in a bundle.
What it is. Separate. There another episode, phenomenal episode of More Than the Title. Who but us? We're gonna see you on Thursday. We out of here.
You know about me.